We're ready. Okay, we're being videoed. Okay, we're being videoed on Peninsula TV, so you can watch this event over and over again, if you like. Did he say go? Okay. Good morning. Is it still morning? Yes, it is still morning. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of South San Mateo County, I welcome the candidates and especially the audience to this free public forum for governing board member for the Ravenswood City School District. I'm Margaret Marshall, and I'll be your moderator this morning. The League of Women Voters is a national, nonpartisan volunteer organization of women and men, and our education mission is to encourage your active and informed participation at every level. We do not endorse candidates or political parties. Our sole interest is in helping voters gain fair and unbiased information in order to make an informed decision on Election Day, November 4th, coming up. In addition to this forum, we encourage you to visit the California State League of Women Voters election website, smartvoter.org, for information about all of the candidates and measures on your ballot. Also, in the back of the room, there's a pro and con sheet available that lists pros and cons of all the propositions, which I always find very helpful before marking my ballot. So to begin with, you're supposed to all turn off your cell phones, particularly the candidates. It's a good idea. No personal calls going on while we do this event. Keep your cell phones turned off. Questions will be taken from the audience, and Ellen Hope is our question collector, and I think she's already told you about that. So if you think of a question, raise your hand to her, and she'll give you a card, and you can write your question on it. And then she's going to kind of sift those questions so that I ask them in some kind of an organized fashion. Okay, you'll each have 2 minutes for an opening statement and then 2 minutes for a closing statement. And then when we do the questions, you'll each have 1.5 minutes to answer the question. And I will rotate who gets to answer the question first as we go down the list. That's one reason they're sitting in this order, so I don't lose track. Okay, there are 3 seats to be elected for the governing board member for the district, and there are 5 candidates. The candidates are Charlie May Knight, Isaiah Vi, raise your hand so well they can see your name, Anna Pulido, Marcelina Lopez, and Nicholas Valdez is not here. If he arrives, he gets to sit at the end. Okay. All right, we're ready to begin. Are there any questions from the candidates or questions from the audience about how we're going to do this? Okay, then let's begin. Let's start out, and you get to be the first to speak with your opening statement.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. My name is Marcelino Lopez. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for calling us and show why we're running again. And in my case, so like I said, I live in East Palo Alto for 47 years, and I have been running or being in the school board for 12 years consecutive. I want to thank everybody for assisting me on that, for putting me there. And so my reason for being here and the school district is because the students are the most important things in life for me. Even though I don't have a son or daughters in the school right now, but I have 3,554 students, which I care for it. It doesn't matter the ethnicity, and hoping that they be somebody in life with good education. So I don't want them to be in the assembly line. I want them to be sitting in the office where they can have a better future. They can be somebody in life for their kids and their community. So I want to thank you for inviting me and to let me serve in the district again. Because right now, the district is going straight forward, and we want to keep it that way. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Marcelino. Anna, you're next.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, and thank you for coming out this morning. My name is Anna Maria Polito, and I'm the president of Ravenswood City School District. I'm a lifetime resident here in this community. I grew up here. I had the opportunity to go get my degree in business, and then I decided to come back and invest in this community. I work for a local nonprofit that's a youth-serving agency, as well as I'm on the board of a parent engagement organization that works in our schools. This is my first term, and in my first term, I really came in with the priority of creating a stable leadership. When you look at all the different issues that are occurring in our school district, as growing up here, I was very frustrated. And when you think about it, it all starts at the top. And if we don't have the right board with the right superintendent, we really can't make the progress that we're all looking for and the change that we all need. So I decided to participate and get involved and become on this board, and that was one of my first agenda items. And I can happily say that our board has been working great together to push this district forward. We have hired a new superintendent that understands the mission and the vision of this school board, which is to increase academic success. I'm looking for re-election because there's so many initiatives and programs that are occurring currently that are impacting our students in the classroom day to day that we do not want to lose the momentum. We're looking to revamp our academic courses. We're looking to provide services and resources not only to our students but to our families, because I think we all know that the challenges our kids face are not just in the classroom, they go beyond. So thank you for being here. I look forward to discussing this in more detail with you, and we hope that you're able to see the good work that we have done and accomplished. Thank you.
My name is Charlie Knight. I was former superintendent of this district, and since that time I have been working at the state and national level in education. And after reviewing the performance of the kids in Ravenswood, I decided it was time for me to get back at the local level where I might be able to help. We still are the lowest and the poorest performing school district in San Mateo County. Now, at one time, we could say, well, there are a lot of low-income people, and therefore, traditionally, people felt that the kids couldn't do any better. Well, that day is over. We have the right technology, we have the knowledge, we have the support, and for the first time, Ravenswood isn't doing bad in terms of people funding. So I am back in the game to be sure, one, that we have adequate funding for the schools in Ravenswood, two, that we raise the achievement level, and three, that we be about the business of implementing the Common Core standards that the state has mandated. So I'm all fired up and ready to go.
Thank you, Charlie. Next is Isaiah.
My name is Isaiah V. I was born in Tonga. My family migrated here when I was 1 year old, so I was basically raised here in the Bay Area. My parents are very well respected pastors within our community for over 40 years. I've lived and invested in our community here for 20 years. My employment currently is with the County of San Mateo as an information technology analyst. I've been working there for about 28 years. Some of my community service achievements that I'm very proud of is I've been involved with OICW, now Job Train, since the 80s. Been able to serve on their board of directors since 2005. One of the questions that always comes up for me as a candidate when I'm out there in the streets is, why should I vote for you? For me, the board, as a board member, we should be responsive, and not only responsive, but we should be receptive to parents, staff, and students. And we should, as board members, take input from all the groups. Let me just stress that, from all groups within our community. Weigh the facts before we even begin to make a decision. Anyone that comes before the board deserves not only to be heard, but they need to be able to speak to some of the issues that they're dealing with. I deeply care about the children here in our community. I'm a Sunday school teacher for our church for our youth. Most of them, about 95% of them, are Ravenswood students. One of the issues that I'm really concerned about is Common Core standards. And with the implementation of this, we've already rolled it out here in our community, but it will take, we will soon see the effects of these Common Core standards. And I really believe that we need to be pay a little more close attention to how these Common Core standards are implemented within our community. It's very key. Thank you.
Good. Thank all of you for your opening statements. We've got some questions to begin, and following in order, we'll let Anna be the first, and then we'll go down and you'll be the last to answer this question, which is, what has been your role with the Ravenswood School District past and currently?
Okay, so currently I am the president of this district, as I mentioned in my opening statement. But in the past, I attended a church that also was one of the biggest churches in this community. And we were working with families and kids and teaching them about the importance of education. Most of our kids did attend Ravenswood. And dealing with those families, I was able to learn more about the struggles that were happening in the school district on different levels, as well as teachers and staff. And that's how my involvement really came about, because previous leadership, boards, and superintendents were essentially, in the grand scale of things, not being very effective with student success. So that's when I got involved, because previously that wasn't happening. And just being able to speak with different community members, that gave me that reality of what was happening. And the only way to really change something is getting involved, and that's why I'm here. Currently, as I said, I am the president. Under our leadership, we brought in many programs that includes literacy, expanding our literacy programs. We reintroduced STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. We're working with our teachers with Common Core. We were actually one of the first districts that entered Common Core early. We didn't do a reactive model, we did a proactive model. So we entered a year early before any neighboring school districts for Common Core. So we're actually ahead of the game in regards to that. So we feel very fortunate, and that's just some of the techniques of that. As the president, I'm really looking into this reactive, not reactive, but proactive model, because we don't want to address issues when they're already happening. We want to really create intervention systems early on. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Charlie?
Well, I'm very concerned about the fact that even though we've been in the game with Common Core standards, the results is what is important. The school district should be result-oriented. So
excuse me, Charlie May.
Okay.
The question, I probably need to review the question.
Yeah, review again.
What has been your role with the Ravenswood School District in the past and currently?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good. I'm sorry, I could have reminded you that.
Okay, my role has been, at one time, superintendent for about 17 and a half years. And in the meantime, I have been supporting the district as a citizen. And I'm here to continue that support.
Okay. Isaiah?
Well, with the Ravenswood School District, I work, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a Sunday school teacher, and nearly all of my students are students here, pupils here at the district. I see a lot of the struggles that they go through. The district has them Monday through Friday. I have them on Sunday, and what I try to offer them is just a place not only to learn more about their faith, but to also be able to assist them with a lot of their homework, the things that they're struggling with. And I'd like to be here at the table to offer that more on a bigger scale. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcelino?
Yes, thank you. Before I came to the school board, and 12 years ago, I was in Padres Unidos, PIA, neighborhood initiative, and promoting a high school. And we was one of the originals for OEPA, one is Palo Alto. When I became a ELAC president, and then DLAC president, I came to the board and to ask for assistance, and I never got it. So I thought, okay, it's time to start working to change the district. So when we finally came in and 12 years ago. We want to start the lawsuit on the, or at least to fighting the lawsuit in the district, and which is costing us tens of millions of dollars that you and I are paying for. And that was under the administration of Dr. Charlie Knight. I know she's a great person, but I has been suffering with that because we still have a long way to go, maybe 2 more years, we hope, then we can see the sun in the tunnel, in the end of the tunnel. So I wanted to keep growing the way we are, and I want to thank you for letting me speak.
Good. All right, now we have a new question, and it's what are your thoughts and involvement with the Ravenswood School Improvement Plan court order? And Charlie, may you get to be the first this time around.
I haven't been involved in the improvement plan, except I was one of the authors of it many years ago when we first started with the Tinsley program. And hopefully, if I'm elected, I will be able to at least orchestrate or assist in orchestrating the implementation of those achievements.
Thank you, Charlie. Isaiah, you're next.
I think the Ravenswood Improvement Plan is great. I think that a lot of the things that they've been able to achieve so far is awesome. I would like to be there as well to be able to help push a lot of the initiatives forward with this plan, and I think we can. There's a lot of room for improvement. Thank you.
Okay, Marcelino.
Yes, we has been improving. I will say a lot, not enough, but a lot. I like to mention too, with the Common Court, we were the first one in the county to adopt it, and we are for the first time, our students got a 3rd place, and which is to me is we are advancing in a huge way. So, and even though we not there, I think we are in the right position with the right tools. The only thing we need is to support these issues. We are working on it, and have our district go forward. But we need then the outside community trust us too. Not only the inside, but the outside community has been helping us a lot until recently when they found out who is running. So we're hoping that we keep the same road. And thank you.
Thank you. Anna.
Thank you. So the Ravenswood School Improvement Plan, although it sounds very cheerful, it's actually costing us millions of dollars, and not even in the services that we're providing to our students, but in court monitors. And unfortunately, we entered into that special education issue under the previous administration, and we've been having to pay for it for the last 17 years, and it's cost us millions of dollars. Money that can be going to our students, to our programming, is going to court monitors, because previous administrations did not provide the services and needs to our special education students. So I'm happy to say that under this new leadership, we have had the best report of compliance in the last 17 years. We're entering discussions about the potential exiting of our SIP, which is the monitoring portion, not the services provided, but the monitoring portion, so that we can now use those funds where we're spending hundreds and thousands a year and put them back into our programming versus paying supervision. So I'm very excited about that possibility of exiting that mandate and putting our resources back into our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready for a new question, and Isaiah, you get to be the first to answer this time. Give an example of how you would increase academic achievement.
One of the things that I would implement as far as academic achievement is getting the parents more engaged, providing a lot of the resources that's needed for the parents. I think the learning experience of our children is very, very key. If they're stressing too much at school, I think that's going to hinder their education quite a bit. So I believe that getting parents involved, getting them involved in a lot of cultural activities, help them to be very prideful of where they come from, I think that would help a great deal with their student achievement. Providing the tutors that's available to them, connecting resources to parents and students. I think those are all things that I would really try to push forward with. Thank you.
Marcelino?
Yes.
How would you increase academic achievement?
Well, we have to start in the beginning. Next year, we're going to have pre-kinder, 3 and 4-year-olds coming to have a pre-kinder classes, and I has been telling the supervisor and the superintendents that if we put the best teachers on the kinder to 3rd grade, we will build the right foundation, and I think that's what we're doing. Additional, get all the support. But the main thing is to include the parents, engage the parents to support their son and daughters to help us, because I think that has been we neglect to encourage them, we neglect to bring them to our face, to say, okay, this is what we need. And finally, this administration is working very hard to do that. So we're very hopeful that our students are going to be successful in high school and beyond, because we want them to have a better future than we do. So,
Thank you. Anna?
Thank you. So my top priorities in creating the student success, we really want to ensure that we have equity across the district, that all the resources and services that are being provided in one school, it's just not one school, it's in all schools to be able to support our students. We want teacher success in the classrooms that includes professional development. And we do have a teacher center that we have academic teaching masters and mentors to our other teachers to help them develop their skills and transition into Common Core effectively. We've expanded our literacy program because we all know that early literacy is very, very important. It determines your high school dropout rate. So we've expanded our program to reach from K to 2nd, and we're actually looking to get more funds to reach K through 8. So that's a way of improving achievement. And we also want a more well-rounded curriculum for our students. In particular, right now with our middle school students, we're able to provide other courses as sciences that they hadn't been exposed to enough. Music, arts, foreign languages. Just creating more robust curriculum is going to help increase that achievement. And overall, we're just looking to start early on. With Trustee Lopez says, we want to be able to provide preschool for all our 3- and 4th-year-olds to start them early in the school system. So that's just one of many, as well as our facilities master plan. We're looking to look at our district, how is it structured, and what changes need to be made to make our kids more successful in the schools. So it's that creating a more, I'm sorry, stop. I have to stop.
Thank you. Okay, Charlie May.
Well, the first thing I would do is to provide the leadership, and I better be sure to say this right. There is no earthly reason why we should have a monitor for special education in the Ravenswood School District for 17 years. It's not a matter of being out of compliance. Everybody in the state of California is out of compliance in special education. There is no way to do it. Number one, they don't give you adequate funds to implement special education, so you have to take the funds from regular education to accommodate special education. I fought them all the way to Washington, D.C. Didn't get the support that I needed, but I can tell you this, only low-income areas are hit with this kind of plague when it comes to special education. I am saying to you, if I'm elected, and if I'm not elected, I am going to work hard to see to it that that expense you are paying for a monitor, it appears to me that if it takes you 17 years and you haven't improved yet, why are you still here? And I would like to engage the support of our politicians to go back to Washington to say, let's look at the Ravenswood School District and find out why it is necessary to have a monitor for special education for 17 years.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, what are the demographics of the school district? Let's start with Marcelino this time.
Okay, we have the largest is a phenomenon because it's changing. This is the only city and school district which is changing. Right now, is the Hispanic is the largest, like 73%. The only one is declining is the African Americans, and the Pacific Islanders are increasing, and the Hindu population and others. So, but the thing is that unfortunately we have a lot of parents are working 2 jobs, and it is a crisis for the students because it's no quiet place to do their homework. So and that's an all ethnicities is affecting us. So we try to put after school programs that way they can help us on the education. And I think we can pull it out if we all work together. Don't see the color of the skin or how much money you have. If we work together, we can do it. We can pull it out, and I'm very hopeful that we will. So thank you.
Thank you. Anna.
So, as Trustee Lopez mentioned, we do have predominantly a large Latino community here. We have an African American Pacific Islander community as well, and other makeups. We also have a large English language learning community in our schools that we're currently working with, and we do fall in the lower income bracket as well in this community. So those are some of the makeup of our district.
Charlie May.
We have the largest Hispanic population in the district. However, the fastest growing population happened to be the Tongan and Samoan. And our instructional program should be revamped to ensure that this new population, we've had a small number of Filipinos, but the fastest growing one happened to be Tongan and Samoan, and so we should probably be looking at the instructional program to ensure that the cultures are included in our celebrations as well as our instructional program.
Thank you. Isaiah.
Demographics in our community here, obviously Latinos are a large part of it at nearly 80%, and the remaining is divided between the African American and Pacific Islanders community. I believe that because of the huge increase in Pacific Islanders within our community, I think that we would probably, well, one of my focus would be to make sure that there's proper representation there at the table to be able to voice certain things that other communities may not understand about the Pacific Islander community. One thing that East Palo Alto is known for within the demographics of our children is that they come from very low-income families. 90% of our children here come from low-income families within our community, and a lot of times they try to connect low income with low student achievement. I'd like to hopefully change that trend around to have low income equal low dropout rates, low income equals low expulsion rates. And so I'd like to see some of those demographic informations change over time. Thank you.
Good. Another question. There was some discussion of truancy during the forum for the City Council. How would you approach the problem of truancy? Anna, you get to go first this time.
The interesting part about the truancy program that initiated about a year ago, and it unfortunately it's not occurring on a city level, but we're still looking at truancy, is that they were trying to create interventions on a high school, middle school level, but we've come to understanding that behavioral practices are learned early on. So addressing them in elementary, in the kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade is where we need to have our main targets. Because that's when we're teaching our parents and educating our children about the importance of school, the importance of attendance, the importance of not missing, and what that really means. And with that teaching and that knowledge and understanding, as they transition into other grades, high school, middle school, they come with that understanding of the importance of attending school. So that's the approach that we're taking, is teaching and educating and learning at our early ages and in our elementary levels, as well as in our middle school levels to reinforce it. But we have to start early. That's when behavior's learned.
Oh, thank you. Okay, Charlie May, your response to how to deal with truancy in Ravenswood.
Well, we've tried to implement several methods to address truancy. One of them was in-school suspension, for instance. When Trustee Rutherford was on the school board, they allowed me to implement something called in-school suspension. So we didn't have much truancy at the time. The problem was it cost money because we had to hire, we don't call them truant officers anymore, but we had a nice name for them that was not negative. In addition to that, we have to look at the problems of the parents. Truancy is not just because some kid decided he didn't want to come to school that day. Sometimes those problems are imposed on these children by their parents. Mama has to go to work. She doesn't have a babysitter. And who becomes the babysitter? One of your students. So I'm hoping that we could get at the real crux of the problem, and that is, let's look at the families. Let's see what their needs are. And if there's any way that the school district can assist, at one time we used to have free after-school programs so that parents could leave their children and didn't have to worry about rushing home from work. So I'm hoping that one of the things we could do is to assist those parents in improving the quality of their lives so that the children will have a higher quality of education.
Thank you. Isaiah.
A good education starts at home, not at school. That's what I believe, and I believe that a lot of the struggles and the issues that the children are facing currently that are possibly contributing to truancy is just everyday life, things that happen at home. Parents are working 2 to 3 jobs, and there's no one to really monitor the children. I think parents getting involved, pushing for more parent engagement is really a key factor in helping reduce this truancy rate, and it doesn't cost anything. So I believe if we get parents more involved, educate the parents so that they know that as long as their kids are not in school, that means dollars for our district. So if they're not in attendance, we are losing money. And I think if we educate the parents appropriately with those kinds of facts, that will help them push their kids to come to school. But we really need to look at the underlying issues that may be going on at home. Thank you.
Thank you. There was another question that came in that I was going to ask. What are the demographics of the school district? Did I ask?
Yes, you asked that.
I didn't.
You didn't get to answer.
I know, but that's okay.
Would you like to answer? You can.
Sure.
Go ahead. Talk about truancy.
Okay, truancy is a huge problem. We know that, and all because of lack of funds. I mean, our parents are struggling to survive, but that's why we definitely put a lot of emphasis on how the kids, the students 3 and 4 go to kindergarten, pre-kinder, sorry, and so that's why we're having after-school programs. Then some are financed by outside companies, outside foundations, and what I insist to the superintendent that every person who bring some help to the district and after-school programs to evaluate it. And if it is working, let's support him. If it is not working, let's delete him, because our students are not guinea pigs. We have to make sure the kids get a good education for the purpose of having a better life and better future. So I think truancy is a big problem, and we have to face it in the early age, because sometimes we like to. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. A new question. Did we do the question about demographics?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, right. Here's the one that, thank you for keeping me on track. How do you feel about prayer being brought back into schools? Charlie May, you get to start.
Well, I have no objection to prayer, but I would not want it to be something prescribed by the school district. We all worship in our own way, and I think it should be a personal thing as opposed to being implemented by a government or governmental body.
Okay, Isaiah?
Spending most of my time with church and my faith, I believe prayer is something that is deeply personal. I don't think it would be something that the district should be imposing on our children. But at the same time, I don't think that we should be restricting children from acting on their faith. However they want to pray, I think we should be allowed for them to do so in a place and a time that's appropriate for them. But I don't think we should be restricting. I don't think we should be imposing also. Thank you.
Okay, Marcelino.
Well, we have to respect everybody's religious, but I has been insisting on the Pledge of Allegiance should be enforced in the schools. And I asked the principals, the superintendent mainly, that we should ask if any parents doesn't want them to participate, their student, their sons or daughter to participate, to respect that. But I think this, especially in the younger age, we live in this country and we should have some kind of patriotism involved in that, because it's the country where they host you or you live in it supposed to be very deep in your heart. And I think if we start with at least with that, we don't say just pray every day and get on your knees and all that. Just pray for our country that is hosting you or as your country. So I think we should have that in every school, and the flag too. So that is very important for me, and I hope one day we can have every single school do that. I know some are doing it, but as I said, they have to ask parents, see if they don't want it.
Thank you. Anna?
You know, I agree that we shouldn't impose anything, but we shouldn't restrict either. I think that everyone should have the ability to express himself in their own faith in an appropriate manner. But as a school body, you know, we're not in a position to impose any kind of religious act. And I also agree with the Trustee Lopez. You know, we have been trying to bring back the Pledge of Allegiance and the flag to all our schools. And yeah, that's how I feel about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Here's a kind of a positive comment and a question. Low test scores and let's see, Isaiah, you'll be the first to answer this one. Low test scores is the reason I removed my son from the Ravenswood City School District. The last 2 years have appeared to be the most progressive I've experienced in the last 15 years. What would you do to keep the Ravenswood School District on the same track forward and decrease the loss of students to Tinsley and more charter schools?
I believe in working smart, not necessarily hard, and not reinventing the wheel. So I think one of the things that we should seriously be looking at, look at all of our schools, look at the metrics, what is working, and if what is working as far as increasing student achievement, let's try to replicate that and scale it up. Look at some of the other factors that are not working and slowly phase those out. But I think we should be taking a closer look at all of our schools, and especially the ones that are within our community, not really look outside, because every community is special, is different. But I think we would need to take a closer look at what's working, look at the metrics, look at the data, and scale it up. That's how I would look at these issues.
Marcelino.
Yeah, we have, when we first, 12 years ago when I came, we have a few more charter schools than now. So we have one charter school. And so I think it's our score when 2002 was like in the 400s, now it's in the 700s. So, but how can we keep it? Well, we have a new superintendent, practically new, it's a year and a half, but she's changing a lot of the things than it was there for a long time. So we're changing those. She's bringing very high quality educators and administrators, and I think this is making the points where our kids have a chance. And that's the reason why we want to keep running the same way the district is going, because I think pretty soon is going to be a model not only for these students but for the whole country, and we hope then we go that way. And how we do it is if we keep supporting the same issues that we have and improving it, because there's always ground for increase. And I think it's a crime not to educate a kid.
Thank you. Let's see, Anna, you're next.
Yes, thank you. So, I appreciate that question. I appreciate the acknowledgement of the work and the progress that's been made in this last 2 years, because it has been great strides that we have done. I think that you need to create that stable leadership that's created and push for this shift and push for this change. That is both from the school district board, as we sit here to run again, as well as our superintendent. We have a superintendent that understands the vision and the mission of this board, which is academic success, student first. We're transitioning to this facilities master plan that I had previously mentioned, which looks how to restructure our district on how to be more effective across the board. We're looking at our elementaries, our middle school programs, we're looking at our curriculum, and we need to continue that momentum. We need to continue that good work that we've been working on. We reintroduced STEM, which is our sciences. We placed third place in the county for our science fair, as well as got acknowledged for our Makerspace program by the Silicon Valley Community Foundation as a model. We're becoming a model to other districts. We're becoming an example. So we cannot stop that, and the way we don't stop that is continuing this leadership that's pushing this agenda forward. So that along with working with our superintendent to continue a lot of these programs is the way that I would continue our academic success.
Okay, thank you. Charlie May.
I think we should continue to implement the school improvement program that we currently have, and shoot for the state benchmarks. This district has been unable to reach the state benchmarks in the last 10 years. So I am hoping that one of the things that we would do in our school improvement program is, one, find the dollars. One of the reasons why our kids don't do very well, we spend less on our kids than any other school district in San Mateo County. And so one of the goals we would have would be to increase the amount of dollars that we are spending per child. Unfortunately, low-income areas like East Palo Alto get the brunt from the state, and we don't get the proper funding. One of the things that we would have to do is to provide leadership to ensure that our legislators are conscious of this and are willing to work with us to improve those dollars coming from the state and federal government. The dollars that we are currently receiving are lower than we have had in the past because there are very few dollars available in education. We have very little leadership at the state or national level in education when it comes to dollars. So I'm hoping that one of the things we can do is to push our legislators to increase the amount of funding for our youngsters so that we can meet their special needs. And our kids do have a lot of special needs.
Thank you. Okay, we have a new question. What is the role of the superintendent and what has been accomplished by past superintendents? Marcelino, you get to start this time.
Yes, thank you. The new role of the new superintendent is to bring the district forward, and I think she's accomplished that very, very, with the struggles, but it has been accomplished that and keep going beyond that. The former, I was criticized, our board has been criticized in the past for changing superintendents that often. And when somebody come with a suitcase load of credentials, you think that's the best. But when they focus only on one thing, I'm sorry, but you gotta go. So that's why we keep changing it. And if we not satisfied with what they doing, we do change it. We are very thankful that this superintendent has been working hard, bringing the right people to help the district. And what is the reason is for the kids, for the students, because we has no excuse for not educating our students. I mean, you just have to find the right people. And she is has been surrounding last year and this year with the right tools. And so it will show greatly next time, next end of the year. So
thank you.
I think we're very happy to hear that. Thank you.
Anna, what do you think the role of the superintendent is?
I think the role of superintendent, the superintendent has quite a few roles. You know, they're supposed to implement the vision and the goals of the board by board direction, and it's their mission to create our district to be a model of student success. Work in collaboration with parents, teachers, staff to meet the needs of the district, to establish the vision and the mission, and to really be the leader of that transition. So I feel like our new superintendent has accomplished that. She not only understands the mission and vision of the board, but she's successfully implementing. Under her leadership and our leadership together, we're bringing in resources. I know it was mentioned that we're in limited resources, but in the past year and a half, we have secured millions in private dollars to put back into our schools, which is why we've been able to reintroduce a lot of the programs that we have done. So I can assure you that our leadership together as superintendent and board is attracting funders, it's attracting donors, it's attracting partnerships that we didn't have in the past. And that's another role of the superintendent, to secure these partnerships not only with local organizations, but with potential resources and monies to bring and put back into our school district. So, thank you.
Charlie May, what do you think the role of the superintendent is?
First of all, the role of the superintendent, of course, is to implement the goals of the Board of Education and the state requirements. But in addition to that, the superintendent must provide leadership in instruction and instructional standards. The collaboration, and this district is known for its collaboration. When I was superintendent, we were able to get the Packard Foundation, the Mars Foundation. We were able to get the Hewlett Foundation. And many of these foundations came in to assist us in increasing the amount of money per child so that we could have these extra programs. We had after-school program. We had the Tinsley program, which we were able to garner funds in addition to allowing our kids who wanted to go to other school districts to attend other school districts. We were able to build new buildings here. And the collaboration really did help us a great deal, particularly with the industry around us. We are lucky to be in the Silicon Valley where there's lots of money, and we've been able in the past to receive lots of support.
Thank you. Isaiah?
For me, the role of the superintendent, one of the key things that come to mind is collaboration. Not only collaboration with the board, but also with the community at large. I think with the superintendent needs to be able to feel and hear the heartbeat of not only staff, but the children and the different issues that come up, so that she would be able, or he would be able to manage our district well. I think that the superintendent should be in a very proactive and collaborative mode as far as helping the board push forward a lot of the initiatives and policies that the board sets. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna, you get to be the first to answer this next question that has been referred to in other questions about the district being under a court order to provide special ed services to students because parents were forced to sue the district years ago. What changes, if any, would you make to the special education program?
So, as we've mentioned, the special education program did come under a previous leadership, previous superintendent that put us in a situation where we had to be monitored, where we had to use most of our resources for the purpose of. What we're looking to is provide the highest quality of special education possible, and we are right now currently 100% compliant. And we seek to maintain that compliance, seek to work with our special education coordinators and our paraeducators and anybody who's under our special education program and understand the importance of special education and delivering their services at 100% compliance with or without monitors. So that is something that we feel strongly, passionately about as a board, and we've made that very clear to our superintendent, and she's been able to take that and implement that, which is why we're in compliance and we've had the best report in 17 years. Why 17 years? Because this actually was a court monitoring of 20 years. It was implemented upon us, not by choice. They said for 20 years, we're going to monitor you because you were mismanaged. So now we don't trust you through previous superintendent. So it was not that we didn't want to get out earlier, it's that it was mandated for 20 years. But now we're doing such a great job under this term, under this leadership, that the court monitor is now saying, you know what, I feel we can talk about early exit. And that's something that we have never been able to do before, and because they trust and believe in this leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Charlie May.
Well, I have a different perspective. I think if you hired me 17 years ago, and it took me 17 years to bring you in compliance, you should be looking at the monitor. I'm saying low-income areas like this, like East Palo Alto, need to begin to question some of these things that are imposed on you. Why would you need 17 years, and what are you measuring? Are you measuring the performance of special ed children? Are you measuring the performance of the district? If it took you 17 years to do that, I'm saying, and I say to all school districts throughout this nation, begin to question the motives of special ed. First of all, you don't get adequate funding, and nobody is pushing for that. Secondly, we need leadership in this area. And third, we need to understand what it is that we are measuring. So I'm saying that let's take a look at special ed, let's take a look at the amount of money we're spending for special ed, and find out if the results you can see the results in what the children are doing, their performance.
Thank you. Isaiah.
Coming from a technology background, data is a big part of my job, and I believe that if we begin to look at the data a lot closer, we'll be able to understand and see where we are realistically with how we're serving our special education community. For me, I would work really hard to help push us out and exit from that monitoring. And that's something that I would work closely with the superintendent as well as the board and just do a whole lot of collaboration to help us move forward. Thank you.
Okay, Marcelino.
Yes, that's one of the reasons I came to the board 12 years ago, because we wanted to stop the bleeding of the funds going to the lawyers, and was something the previous board and Dr. Knight it was 3 points at the time when one of the members of our community came and asked her to sign it, because that way the state will pay for 100%. But it became 157 points and escalating. So we decided that we had to stop that escalating and accept that all those funds, instead of paying to the lawyers, put it in the education of those kids who in need. So I think the lawsuit was something that we could have avoided, but we paying for it, and we paying tens of millions of dollars. So that money, and when if we exit it, we're not going to stop educating the kids in need. We gotta so keep doing it. We have a award for special ed, including in the classroom, countrywide. Well, we want to get it at Oregon. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, here's a fun question. Charlie, may you get to be the first to answer it. Ravenswood is receiving $1 million from Facebook's Startup Foundation this year. This money may be repeated in future years. How would you spend it?
Well, first I would be sure that it didn't go on administration, that it went on the children, because it appears that this is where we would get not only the best result, but where it is greatly needed. And I'm delighted that Facebook decided to give something to this community. I wished it was a little bit more, but we'll accept the $1 million, and I am sure that we'll find the best place to put it if we place those funds on the children.
Isaiah.
$1 million for Facebook is just a drop in the hat. I believe that these large corporations that surround our community, they really, at the end of the day, they really want to help us more, but they want to see how we're able to manage the little that they're giving to us now. If we're able to be faithful with the small seed that they've planted, they'll be able to trust us with a whole lot more. And I believe that with this $1 million, it's a good start, but there still needs to be a lot more to be done. With this $1 million, I believe we should do a lot of focus on technology and focus on the kids. The kids, they're naturally drawn to technology. And so I believe if we tend to push that forward more with technology and kids, that will definitely enhance and enrich their learning experience. Thank you.
Marcelino.
Yes, money is never enough, but Facebook not only has been supporting us with $1 million this time, they allocate $25 million for the San Mateo County, but it's $1 million this time. But if you know, the last year, school year, they give computers for every 8th grade, and it has been supporting us. We were invited to their location and show us what they're doing, and I think that trust is there. they trust in us and we are in the right direction. Everybody is happily working now, and our teachers are being supported. Our teachers are being educated more, and the ones who need it. So we are in the right position, like I said, as not only Facebook, Silicon Valley Foundation is waiting to see who's coming on the board to keep going. So I just hope that we keep getting the same support from those foundations who have a lot of money. If they just give us 0.1% of the whole wealth of this foundation or companies surrounding us, we will be in huge, great shape. But we have to show them then as we deserve it.
Thank you. Anna?
Thank you. You know, just kind of piggyback on what some of the other candidates said, you know, Mr. V mentioned that, you know, we give you little, you do something with it, we'll give you more. And that's really how it all started. As Trustee Lopez mentioned, they started off with just giving us laptops to one 8th grade class. And that they were reluctant. And we pushed to get laptops for all our 8th grade classes district-wide. And then they saw what we did with that. And that's when they came back around and said, you know what, here's $1 million. Because everything you say you're going to do, you do. And everything that you do goes directly to the students. They weren't more technology that we had at the schools to collect dust. No, we put it in the students' hands so they can be transitioned into high school and have the equipment that they need. So we're building that reputation with organizations and businesses. We're saying everything that we are promising is what we're delivering, and that money is going to our literacy programs, our science programs, our math programs, and we're looking forward, and we're already having conversations with not only Facebook, other organizations about this upcoming year and what other programs they can invest in and what else they can do. So we're building upon that, and we don't want to lose that momentum because they believe in this leadership and they trust this leadership. Partnerships are all about trust. If you don't have trust, you don't have nothing, which means you don't have the money, which means you don't have the resources. We've taken a long time in this term to build that trust, so we need to maintain that trust. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. I think we have time for one last question, and the first person to answer this next time around is Isaiah, okay? And the question is, with all the problems in the Ravenswood School District, why do you want to still be a part of the board? Seems to be a good closing question. Isaiah, you start.
I believe I can be a part of the solution to our community, especially because our community is made up predominantly of 3 core ethnic groups. I believe that I can be a voice for our community as well as the rest of our community here in East Palo Alto. So I love the challenge, and just being in this community, I love our community, and I really want to be a part of that change that I see and I know that's going to come. And so I want to be sitting at the table. Hopefully you'll be able to support. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Marcelino.
Yes, when I thought 12 years was good enough as a citizen to be in the board of trustees. So, I told the superintendent I was going to delete myself, and she was saying that we are in the right position, she needs the support. I said, that's it. So when I started getting some phone calls from friends of mine, very dear, and told me, I don't think you understand what you're doing, you better run, go and sign yourself and run. Look who's going running. We want to keep the district to go forward. So I said, oh boy, okay. So I told the wife, I'm going to run again. She said, you really like punishment, eh? So I said, well, here I am. So the reason I'm running, and I hope the community see my passion is to empower parents and for our students to be prepared for high school and beyond, because it's a crime not to have a students with not education. So that's the most important for me.
Great.
So thank you
Thank
for
you.
inviting me.
Anna?
Thank you. As I mentioned, I was raised here. My whole life has been in this community. I love this community. I'm invested in this community. I believe in the potential and the resources that we have. We're able to succeed. We can succeed, and we will succeed, and we are succeeding. I believe quality education is a key component to bring this city around. You know, we're dealing with issues of violence and substance abuse and so many other things, but guess what? We first, our students, our children in the schools now, they're our generations to come. They're our future. If we invest in them and they're giving them a quality education and giving them the resources that they need, they're going to create opportunities for themselves. So they don't need to drop out of high school, so they can go to college, so they can find career paths, and then they can give back to this same community. And we will all grow together as a healthy community. I think that it is their right to have a quality education, and I think it's our obligation to provide that quality education to improve the city as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie May?
Well, I still have a passion for education. Even though I may come across a little combative at times because I am passionate about it. And being, serving on several national and state committees, I see how grossly underfunded we are. And yet we are expected to achieve at the same level as a school district that's paying twice as much per child. I still have a dream that we can get there. I still have a dream that the state benchmark of over $8,000 per child is doable. And so I am here to provide that kind of leadership if I can, to work as closely with state and federal officials to see to it that the special needs of our children are met and are attended, and that at least we have an opportunity to spend funds on our youngsters like other school districts in this area. I hate for them to continue to say we are still spending less per child than any other school district in San Mateo County. And my goal is that if I can become a member of this board again, that at least we can reach that benchmark.
Thank you. Okay, now we are ready for our closing statements, unless there was some hot question that didn't get answered from the audience. I think I included all of your questions. They've answered a total of 12 questions. I think that's probably enough to ask them for this morning. Now, this noon, it's afternoon already, so now we have time for 2-minute closure, and we'll start just the opposite of where we began. Let's see, Marcelino, you were the first to start, so Isaiah, you get to give the first closing statement, and then we'll go Isaiah, Isaiah, Charlie May, Anna, and then Marcelina. Okay?
First of all, I just want to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity here today, just to be able to share some of our thoughts and to be able to answer a lot of your questions here today. For me, because our district is so centrally located, we have, we're located right here in the heart of Silicon Valley. We're surrounded by a lot of the finest public school districts, not only in the Bay Area, but in the United States. And it really pains me to see that we have families lined up throwing their name into a bucket, into a lottery bucket, to get their kids to go to a school on the other side. I don't blame them. You know, they're just trying to do what's best for their kids. But I would like to see, my vision, my dream, my hope is that we'll be able to change that trend over time. Change it so much that instead of us putting our name into a lottery to go to the other side, that they would be putting their name in a lottery to come to our district. And that is my hope, and that is my vision and my dream for our district here in Ravenswood. Thank you.
Marcelino.
Wait, that was Mr. Charlie.
Charlie May.
Charlie May.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Right, sorry.
Well, my dream is that we all
That's okay, thank you.
get intimately involved in the education of the children on the peninsula, in East Palo Alto. It is so important that we have the support of the parents. And the first thing we have to do is to make a concerted effort to change the image of the district. People wanted to go to Tinsley because in their mind they were going to receive a better education across 101. I want to reverse that, hoping that people on the other side of 101 would pursue us, because we had some special aid. At one time, we did have that, as Trustee Rutherford can attest to, when we established flood. There were people beating the door down from Palo Alto to get in flood because we had some special programs there, and it was one of the state-recognized schools. I would like to see every school in Ravenswood be the kind of school that the State Department would like to use as a model. And I think that with your support, with the support of fellow board members, and with the effort of our parents and the students, we will be able to attain that goal.
Thank you. Anna. I have a list.
No worries.
I just have to read it.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me once again. It's my interest and my passion to make this district the best option for all our students. And I want it to be a district that our community can be proud of and looked upon as a model of success. We're not only looking to raise the standards here, we're looking to be a model across the board. We want people to look at Ravenswood and be like, look at the turnaround that happened in that district. They're a model of success. That is the desire, that is my intent. We want to continue to revamp our academic programs. We want to provide equal resources and services to all our schools, to all our students, to all our families, and we don't want to lose that momentum. I stress to you enough, has it not been, we've wasted too many years not providing the quality education these students need. Make sure you're electing the right candidates to continue the good work. I can't stress that enough. No personal agendas, just think about the interests of these students. And I feel that the work that we have done is in that direction. You know, I'm not hoping to do, we are doing. And you will soon see the results of all the work that we're doing. So I encourage you to spread the word, let everybody know about the great things that are happening at Ravenswood, and re-elect me, re-elect us, who are incumbents, because we're creating that dynamic change that this community has long waited. It's past overdue. And we hope we can count on your support. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for the League of Women's Voters for inviting me and to express our opinion. I think the district, as you know, is East Palo Alto and East Menlo Park, to me is the same concern. And the only thing I can assure you, the image of the district changed when we came in, because I remember the first organization to call us was Hewlett Packard. They said, invite us to their office and said, what can we do for you? So we come up with new teacher centers, which really improve our education, our teachers, they teach the teachers how to teach the students of this small town like East Palo Alto, East Menlo Park. But what I think is the most important is how we are empowering the parents, how we bring the suspension at 50% down, how we are in the position where we are right now. And piggyback on Trustee Pulido, we gotta keep the momentum. We gotta keep, because it's a crime that we do not educate our students. We need to work harder with the parents, with everybody, and invite. And we already noticed, we got a letter from Anna Asho, congratulating the leadership on the district, and some funds will come up. I'm not sure if it is $1 million or something, but anyway, can remember that. But it's we are known nationwide now, at least with our representatives. So we want to thank you. I want to thank you for inviting me, and I see the stop sign is going to be on my memory for a long time. So thank you very much.
I think we all need to thank the candidates for being willing to be involved in the process. Certainly, any combination of you will serve the school district well. And thank you, the audience, for coming and participating and learning how to be more informed voters. I especially give thanks to Joanne Bruggeman, who was the timekeeper holding up the signs to remind them when to stop. And to Ellen Hope for gathering the questions. We enjoy doing this. I love candidates events. I love elections. The key thing is to remember to vote, and you'll vote wisely and well, I'm sure, as a result of listening to what's going on.
And often.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. Okay, I think you're dismissed. We're right on time. Good job. Good job.